This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel starts now.
We are all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. From Iowa Speedway, it's time for the Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of Season 4 of the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. Tonight, the Thumbs Up Cancer Down 150 and all the simulated retro Lotus 79 action from Green Flag to Victory Donuts comes your way live as it happens right here on the iRacing eSports Network. From the land of corn husks and pork loin sandwiches so big, Yaz and I can only down 3 each in one sitting. Welcome to another GSRC broadcast in the Sim Experience Countdown to the Green. Alongside the banker Brian Yazik, I'm Jason Galvin, joining you up here in the virtual press box high above Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa for tonight's Thumbs Up Cancer Down 150 action. Sean Ambrose is turning the knobs behind the scenes, waiting to hit that mute button on Yaz and I both, I'm sure. Camera angles coming your way tonight via our good friend Dougie Beard. Iowa Speedway, you talk about a track that is near and dear to everybody in the Lionheart series. It's the place of the magical meetup of 50-plus random friends from across North America every summer, where men and women get together and celebrate sim racing. And besides that, it's a pretty darn neat track as well. Let's go for a spin with our GSRC track guide.
Newton, Iowa, a smaller town situated in the middle of Jasper County. Perhaps best known for being the former home of Maytag and Iowa Speedway, where we find ourselves today. Iowa Speedway is perhaps the best known oval out there not to have a NASCAR Cup Series date. Its 0.88 mile layout has offered a ton of exciting short track races over the years. The Xfinity Series, Gander Trucks, IndyCar, ARCA, and Whelen Modifieds all make trips here every summer. USAC, Grand Am Sports Cars, and several other series have come here over the years, and the track is used all year round for driving schools and other events on the oval and road course. Rusty Wallace helped design Iowa, and he patterned it off a track he saw a lot of success at over the years, Richmond, but it's a little larger and faster. The 12 to 14 degrees of progressive banking and these wide corners really can help get things going. Just watch out for the bumps, as the Midwestern winters have taken a toll on the surface. And a real quick did you know? This track was one of the first built without concrete exterior track walls. It was completely designed with the safer barrier in mind. Enjoy the show at Iowa Speedway.
Welcoming back in now my broadcast partner for the night, Brian Yazik. We call him the banker, or Yaz. And Yaz, we all know how much Iowa means to the Lionheart family. Winning here is extra special because of that. But of course, the real life meetup aside, as we learned last night, I think, in the IndyCar series race, man, when everything's clicking, this place can be a darn fun place to hustle an open wheel car.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Jason. Hello, everybody, once again. Welcome to Racing's Field of Dreams, if you will. Located out in the middle of the Iowa cornfield lies the Iowa Speedway. There you see our D-shaped oval with progressive banking on both ends. Just shy of 1 mile, 0.88 or 1.41 kilometers. if you use that side of the tape measure. Newton, Iowa, about 2 hours west of the world's largest truck stop. And let me tell you what, driving around here in an aero wash, sometimes it does make you feel like you are driving an 18-wheeler, Jason, but you are absolutely right at the same time, because once you get that clear track and you can really start ripping off laps, and in our case, once we kind of figured out the right place to get the bars and all of the fun widgets and gadgets getting set right, boy, does this track seem like a whole lot of fun on the service here. But I'll tell you what makes it even better. That is the Sim Experience AccuForce steering system. Because remember, kids, this countdown to green is brought to you by the AccuForce Sim Experience steering system with the most advanced tuning features on the market. AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. Check out the entire Sim Experience lineups. Head on over to simexperience.com.
Yeah, if you don't think the AccuForce is an advantage, especially at a track like this, meet Jason Galvin. I could tell you all about how much the AccuForce helped me out last night here in the IndyCar Series race, and I know there's some high-quality drivers and favorites in tonight's race that are using it as well. Let's take a look at the points here as we're past the halfway point in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel. Ryan Otis, 141 up on Sage Karam, who missed last week while prepping for the Indianapolis 500. He is back this week with a spotter in tow, by the way. I noticed. Interesting. Only 2 drivers have live spotters in this race, and they're 1 and 2 in points. Maybe there's something to that. Ryan's got his son spotting for him, and Sage has IndyCar teammate Damon Martinez. Little Train, Lionel Kalisto up to 3rd in points, just 2 back of Sage now. Sage also has used up all his drops, by the way. Aaron Morgan's 4th, and the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, by virtue of that big win last week, is up to 5th. Taking a look now at our HyperX team standings, and you'll see, quote the Raven, nevermore. They are running away with it. James Paulson, Ryan Otis, Dustin Wardlow, that's Raven Motorsports Black. They are on their way to a three-peat in the team championship hunt here in the Retro Series. Raven Silver with George Anzaldo, Travis Jagerlener, and Sage Karam kind of carrying the load there. It sits in 2nd. And Senrock Esports is just 24 points back of them in 3rd.
Let's take a look at the Rookie of the Year standings presented by Butt Kicker. There you see classy Jason Bossy maintaining his sole grip over that Rookie of the Year standings. You've got Reagan and Richie Hearn just a couple ticks off of that. There you see the 59 markers back to Ricky Hart there in 4th. After a couple of bad races there between Tommy Ryan and Malone, now you're starting to see those gaps expand. Remember, each and every single week, 2nd through 5th, that's been the tightest battle in the Rookie of the Year standings. But now you're starting to see, as we get into the middle of the season, the nuts and the bolts, that's where you're going to start to see the cream rise to the top. Right now, that is that 17 machine of Jason Bossy, who I know out there in the chat has a cheering section pulling for him every single night.
Lionheart Racing Series powered by HyperX. It's the premier open wheel racing league on iRacing with the Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment, which ran here last night. Andrew Kinsella picked up the big win in that race, and the featured series tonight is the Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel. Of course, Lionheart is in honor, the memory of the late and great Dan Weldon.
Now, folks, if you're tuning in for the first time tonight and you're asking yourself, Jason, Brian, what do we got these Lotus 79s at a short track running for? Well, let me tell you what, kids, this is your introduction to Lionheart Retro Series series details presented to us by Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves, industry-leading gloves, super lightweight, super durable, made of breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz. And also, don't forget our promo code, Minus 273 LHRS15, for 15% off of your orders. There you see Season 4. We've been running these things around the iRacing service 4 years now, 12 of 18. 2 drops, which we've already mentioned. A number of drivers have probably already have already burned those up. And that Lotus 79, the ground pounder Formula One machine from the 1979 season, adjusted fixed setup by the setup guru Andrew Kinsella, with cash and prize of $6,671.
As we roll out for qualifying here in the Retro Series, get 2 laps, best lap wins, or so they say. Qualifying here pretty straightforward, and especially in this car where there's not a lot of in-car adjustments and whatnot. Run the first lap up high, build up all the momentum, run that second lap right down on the yellow line if you can in the corners, and don't let her drift too far up out of the corners, or you will lose that momentum. As you look at Mardi Gras, Dean Mall out on the track for his first lap.
Now you see, kind of getting that speed built up, just like what you were talking about. Try to bring it down here to the bottom. Iowa in turns 3 and 4 gives you a lot of maneuverability, lots of area to run. Let's see now, Mardi Gras putting that first lap in, 20 flat, not a bad first lap out there. Now you see we're jumping back to Tommy Ryan coming across the line. There's also Jason, and I know you felt it, and it's something worth watching on the first lap of this race. Let's see if Sage gets it down here. But this big bump down here in turns 1 and 2, it's actually right about where the pedestrian tunnel comes underneath. They bring you, if you have the infield passes, if you're there for the Iowa weekend, underneath the track after being towed by a big tractor, not making that up. So where that bump comes in is right where that tunnel is, and it's really at a very bad spot, wouldn't you say, Jason?
To say the least. It caught me out last night. I was fortunate the broadcast missed that moment of impotence by me on the racetrack. I thought that I was done for. I went over that bump and it shook and spun, and I chased it up the track, and Justin Weaver and Andrew Kinsella both I think had to change their diaper after, because they both went dodging to avoid me there. And if you watched the IndyCar race last night, you know on at least 3 different occasions we had people on restarts going to turn 1 and hit that bump. And man, once you hit that bump, Brian, especially on cold tires, or if you're not up to speed fully and the aerodynamics aren't working the way they should, it's really difficult to save it. I mean, you've got to almost anticipate that you messed up before you get to the bump, so that you can be ahead of catching the car. It's a really, really tricky spot. Dustin Wardlow with a flying lap there. Look at that.
Who can set the fast time? The Candyman can.
Let's see if it'll stick. That's the question.
Yeah, hopefully it sticks like some of them D-Wars candies.
Well, they don't stick too much.
They stick to your soul. That's what it is, Jason.
They stick to your mind. Yeah, you don't want to get rid of them. Boy, Sage Karam had a very, very poor qualifying lap by his standards. Currently down in 16th right now. Sage did not qualify well last night in the IndyCar race either, and he learned the hard way why that's a problem, Brian, because of no fault of his own. 2 cars spun over the aforementioned bump right in front of him, and Sage did his best to dodge, duck, dick, dive, and dodge, and instead he went bowling.
Yeah, and and while he was at it too, he pizza and tacoed, or pizza when he should have tacoed, just to tie all of those analogies together. But I feel like the Lotus does get through that bump a little bit better than the IndyCar. For whatever reason, call it speed, call it suspension travel, call it, whatever you will. It seems like that's where you're going to, at least in these cars, they can have that stability over the bump. And you're going to see guys, and we kind of talk about this a lot in the oval races with the Lotus 79 not having the horsepower numbers. Iowa really going to play into the momentum-based track as well. So you're going to see guys kind of all over, top and bottom, figuring out where they can make the speed the best.
Yeah, this car should, in theory, deliver much different racing than what we got last night. Yeah, as last night was passing was doable, but a lot of that had to do with how kind of ballsy you were willing to get, so to speak, with the adjustments on the car and how well you can handle those adjustments to the car. And tonight should be, for lack of a better term, more like a pack race around here, because these cars don't have the top end speed. They kind of run out of gear around this track, and because they make so much downforce with the ground effects and whatnot, it should make for an interesting run, and it doesn't look like anybody else is going to take a lap here. So as qualifying rounds out, how about this? For the first time at this track, and for the third time in his career, the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, Bakersfield's own, puts the DeWars Candy Special on the pole. As we take a look at your butt kicker starting grid, Wardlow, who picked up his 5th career Retro Series victory 1 week ago at New Hampshire, will start from the point tonight, alongside of Tommy Ryan, a career best qualifying run for Tommy Ryan, who's going to start P2 in this one. Paul Jenkins, a great run as well. In fact, he was just 1,000th off of Ryan. Will start next to your defending series champion and current point leader, Ryan Otis, in row 2. Then it's Ryan Corns with a great run, and David Clymer, an oval expert, starting in row 3. Trevor Malone returns to the Retro Series. He has been absent for several weeks here, Yaz, but we know he's quick around a oval track. He'll start alongside of Aaron Morgan with Finian DeCunha and Bobby Mikes in row 5.
In the 11th spot, you have Dean Mall with Chris Fowler to the outside. Row 7 is made up of Mike Rasmus, the astounding rookie in the series. Ricky Harden, that hardened wall machine. I'm sure we'll talk about him a couple times as the night progresses. Chris Tagg and Jason Bossy there in row 8, with row 9 to Mike Rigney. Matt Houston in the 18th spot there. Sage Karen, we talked about that at the start of the broadcast. Out of character qualifying effort there with Chris Reagan to the outside of row 10.
Series debut for Matt Houston worth noting. Tom Dreiling, James Paulson in row 11. George Anzaldo, the series founder and a former winner here in IndyCar, starts alongside of rookie Matt Taylor in row 12. Then it's Scott Holmes and Tyson Landis in row 13. Little Train chose not to qualify again. That's been his MO on ovals, and it's worked. Winner earlier this year at Pocono starts alongside of Richie Hearn. Travis Jagerlander starts 29th, 29 L79s. Going to start this Retro Series thumbs up, cancer down 150 here at Iowa. Let's take you through the onboards as we get 2 pace laps around the Iowa Speedway here tonight. And we'll start with the man on the pole, the track racer onboard. Functionable and fashionable high-end gaming accessories. Go to trackracer.com. That's TRAK racer.com for your pole sitter, Dustin Wardlow.
From Dustin Wardlow, we're going to jump back to the 12th spot there to the Chris Fowler HyperX Cam. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows. We're all gamers. Use promo code LionHRT15 at hyperxgaming.com.
Mike Rigney stunned the IndyCar field at Pocono last week for his first victory, and we'll try to do the same tonight in the Retro Series with the Asher's Racing on board, always faster on race day. Follow 7-year-old Asher on his motorsports journey at Asher's Racing Channel.
And the final camera tonight goes to the Sim Experience camera of George Anzaldo. Sim Experience second only to the real thing, simexperience.com.
172 laps to go, 150 miles here at Newton, Iowa's Iowa Speedway, and 29 drivers have lined up to take on this high-banked short track in the Lotus L79. It's the Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel. It is Thursday night, and we are live on the iRacing Esports Network and the Global SimRacing Channel. Glad to have you with us. Pace car pulls off. Dustin Wardlow stands on it. Green flag flies, and the thumbs up, cancer down 150. 3 wide already, mid-pack. That was Dreiling who went low. Everybody through one so far, and we're clean and green to the back straightaway. Lap 1 in the books just like that. 22.5 seconds on the opening lap. Dustin Wardlow over Tommy Ryan and Ryan Otis. And then we're 2 wide with Jenkins and Clymer getting close. David Clymer on the move already as
Moving on up through the ranks. I'm looking back just a little bit at Sage Karam. Started in that 17th spot right now in a hornet's nest, working their way through the front stretch here. You see a couple cars around him. There's been just movement just every single lap. I believe there was what kind of got that all started was Chris Tagg, I believe it was, caught the apron, and that's what basically took the whole pack and got them all together. Sage getting tight.
Contact.
Little bit of contact. Excuse me.
Mike Rigney. Rigney looks okay, and so does Sage. Battle for second. Heating up, Ryan Otis all over Tommy Ryan. Ryan Otis normally one to sit and ride, but I think he sees his teammate Dustin Wardlow out there already getting smaller. Look, Brian, it might be lap number 5, but 172 is going to go by in the blink of an eye. Here at Iowa Speedway, when you're turning 19-second laps, you don't want Dustin Wardlow to get too small out in front of you.
No, and I mean, you have to look back at a somewhat similar track where New Hampshire, where Dustin has kind of been the king of just running his own race, getting to his own pace, and getting away from everybody. And now you look at Iowa, just the same amount of aero sensitivity. That number 9 machine is looking clear sailing in the wind.
Aaron Morgan, who's made a habit of showing up late in the races, is trying to get there earlier tonight, and he is all over the back of Paul Jenkins. It's your battle for 5th. Easy there, Aaron. Got down on the yellow line. You saw the wheel bobble a little bit. He had to roll out of it. And now Aaron Morgan has company from Trevor Malone behind him. Trevor Malone is running way, way up there in the Chicago zip code through 3 and 4, but it paid off. Look at the run he got, and already to the outside of Aaron Morgan. And yes, this is something I wondered if would happen. The outside line did not come into play for the Indy cars last night. You basically either ran low or middle. But the retro car, I wonder if we don't see some guys make that work up top.
Well, what you can do is you get that run built up from the top of turns 3 and 4. And really what you're trying to do is more of a crossover. You're not going to be able to get that pass done in the corner, but if you could build up that head of steam, whereas, you know, the driver that went low has to swing all the way up to the wall, maybe break that momentum. You could see exactly what Trevor Malone was doing, getting that big run, those big rear wings kicking off a big draft for everybody to kind of stay right on top of each other with. But then you take that momentum, couple it with a little bit of draft, and there you see, and you look at just in front of that battle, there you see Aaron Morgan trying it again. Not quite clear on Jenkins this time, but there from the top, you see Paul getting that momentum. Aaron slide back up into that draft. Don't want to get hung out to dry here. Being that, again, that heavy momentum-based speedway here.
Boy, these three have just been hooked up and can't do anything with each other, and that's allowed Finney and DeCunha and Chris Fowler to both sneak up. Meanwhile, a little farther back, Sage Karam, you can see him at the top of your screen there. He is up to P13, so he's making some moves, but showing a little more patience tonight than he did last night, maybe learning from getting himself kind of stuck in the middle of that hornet's nest as Aaron Morgan again cannot make the move work on Paul Jenkins. Let's take a look at Sage, and we're right on board with second place in the championship standings. Sage Karam coming off of, I think he would say, is a disappointing showing in the Indianapolis 500. Didn't seem like that team ever really had speed during the month of August. Boy, Sage almost just gave the wall a kiss. In fact, I think he might have given the wall a kiss.
I was awful close. I was going to say, for Sage, his Indy 500 effort, it's usually not good when in all the highlight reels, you're the guy that's kind of, that they highlight as, oh, well, here's where things have gone wrong in the race.
Yes, yeah, he made an early appearance on the troubles in the Indy 500 list and the opening green flag pit stop when he slid in through his stall and also picked up a penalty for that, I believe.
Kind of like when Jim Cantori shows up at your house. You know there's probably weather coming. Never a great sign.
Yeah, those cars did the whole month. I mean, Sage and JR have both shown plenty of pace at Indy over the years. Neither of those cars ever really had any life in them. Credit to JR Hildebrand, who didn't have the pit road issues and managed to pull off like a 15th or 16th place finish. That was pretty impressive, I think, considering what they had to deal with. We check back in at the front of this group, and Aaron Morgan and Finian and that entire gang. Paul Jenkins continues to lead. In fact, it's opened up on Trevor Malone a little bit, who got around Aaron Morgan, and now Chris Fowler is trying to make that bottom line work. You see him sticking his nose underneath Finian. You're on board with Chris Fowler, the Ashers Racing on board. Chris Fowler double dipping. He got HyperX and Asher. Wow. Man, I got to know how I get 2 onboard sponsors in one race, yes?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
when you're that good, I guess you're that good. Chris Fowler had a top 5 last week at New Hampshire. Very impressive run. Newest league admin to the Lionheart, I believe.
That's right. Take a look at the race analysis here. 172 laps on the docket. Fuel stint that they're telling us between the haulers, 75 laps. If you pay attention all year round, that's 75-ish with a 20 incident cap, or 20 incidents gets you a DQ there. And let's be honest here. I think if you're trying to roll around here with 20 incidents, your night is probably well ruined already. You hit that mark, you lose 10 valuable championship points. Chris Fowler chasing after valuable championship points, trying to get that spot away from Finian. We're going to have to watch. A lot of guys are pushing off of turn 2, and it's probably a combination of, you're starting to get those tires a little warm. The car, oh boy, that was close. But the other part that's probably playing a factor, there is about a 7-mile-an-hour breeze pushing the drivers towards that turn 2 wall. So as this race progresses, we're going to have to keep an eye on that. There's the weather right at the top of the screen. Clear night in the Iowa cornfields. 77 degrees, 81 degrees. Track temperature. That southwest winds at 7 miles an hour is what I was talking about. The way that that's blowing is basically right from turn 1 right towards turn 2. So seeing everybody get real close to that fence, it's probably just going to get worse as the night goes on.
Checking back in with the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, leading this race by nearly 3 seconds over Tommy Ryan. I mean, Wardlow coming off of a stellar performance in New Hampshire, where he just kind of bided his time behind Jason Bossi and then Ryan Otis and pounced on the final pit stop and then checked out. Tonight, he's wasted no time in disappearing from the field. Almost 3 seconds up on Tommy Ryan, and into lapped traffic already is Bakersfield's Dustin Wardlow and the DeWars Candy special, DeWarsCandy.com, if you want some of the most unique gifts that you will ever find. Just incredible candy taffy chews that are filled with real peanut butter and real pistachios and real almonds. Brian Yazek, I know you've had your hand on some of those. Sean Ambrose has had his hands on some of them too, but I don't think that's part of his mountain climbing plan, so he's asking me to stop making him salivate.
It's all part of my mountain climbing plans, and the fact that I'm not planning on doing any mountain climbing.
Exactly. By the way, the car Dustin just lapped, Tom Dreiling, has an immense amount of front wing damage, and I don't know where that came from, but there's the reason why we're already lapping people, or part of it at least.
Well, and also Tom now is 2 laps down, so there must have been some early contact there, unfortunately, for the driver of the 54 machine.
Dustin already coming up on Tyson Landis here too, so the lapping has begun early, and there's some high-quality names at the back of the pack here. After Landis, you get to one of Wardlow's teammates, Travis Jagerleiner, and then Richie Hearn, who's gone nowhere since this race started without qualifying. George Anzaldo's back there as well, so Wardlow's going to have some work to do once he catches this group. Let's check in with George Anzaldo, series founder. Some experience onboard camera for the man that's sometimes confused as Alfonso. It's never in a good context, though, so we'll stick with Anzaldo tonight for George.
Number 6.
Chicago Fire Department firefighter paramedic is George Anzaldo. A winner here at Iowa in the IndyCar Series way back in my rookie season, so I think that was season 3 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series.
Didn't have the feed out the bottom, pushing him around the track. Let's take a look at the 9th place battle as Jason is currently stewing at me from across the booth. See, and it's the same players that we've talked about for this last little bit. These guys kind of like stuck in Noir's taffy shoes, just can't quite get away from them. Chris Fowler lead the pack. Mike Rasmus right now get a pretty steady charge through the field. The little bit of blink as well. Classy Jason Bossy. You see just at the back end of that pack, that red and white machine, number 2, Sage Karam. Number 2 in your programs, and number 1 in some of your hearts. The Sage Karam fans out there. Recently engaged driver. Living his best life. I'll tell you, a lot of people, they say that getting married slows you down, Jason. I found on the ovals having that ring on the left side really helps break the left side of the wheel down.
I'm not following here.
We're talking about the old adage of, because Sage Karam lives his life very fast driver, faster than pretty much most of us there in the IndyCar Series. So the old adage of getting married, slowing a driver down, Sage recently getting engaged.
I gotcha.
So I'm saying on the ovals, having that extra little bit of weight on the finger, it's not a bad way.
No, it helps you turn the car. Yeah. I think I have more wins in Lionheart since I've been married than I did before. In fairness, I'd only run about 5 races before I got married, but Look, Jim Rome once told me, never let the facts get in the way of a good story.
Oh.
Which apparently was also adapted by CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Global SimRacing Channel. Let's check in on Trevor Malone, who's hanging out in the 6th spot right now, just ahead of Aaron Morgan. Still unable to get around Paul Jenkins, and there you see the lap car of Dreiling just ahead of Jenkins. So Trevor probably hoping that holds up Paul just a little bit. We're a little past halfway on a fuel run, by the way, from what we're told at least. We have had it reported to us that we're looking at about 75 laps, although I'm told that's 75 solo laps, so I'm going to guess you'll see some cars who can stretch it another 3 or 4 laps at least because of all the lifting here in the draft.
I said ish. 75-ish. It's like when the cop stops you on the side of the road. How fast are you going? 75-ish.
Ish, yeah.
The problem is that's not the proper answer in the schools. Or a resident neighborhood. On-screen battle better than Brian's jokes tonight. There you see Aaron Morgan and Paul Jenkins on screen. Aaron just seemed to be in that. See, Paul is struggling off of turn 4, and now that's the 2nd spot. Trevor got him the lap before. And now Aaron is going to clear him going down there into turn 1 this time. Paul is really struggling with the exit on that number 35 machine. You'll watch him try to get into the corner, and it's just as soon as it tries to set in the middle, the front just wants to go right up to the fence. You see here, he just He gets a little bit of a run, but it just doesn't have that stability. And now heavy under attack from Finian. You see just that bringing it, it's just getting everybody wound back up again. Paul Jenkins, got Finian back there. There's Chris Fowler, Mike Rasmus. Yeah, that group's building just a little bit. So if you're Finian right now, your top priority is getting around Jenkins, getting away from that big crowd of people behind you. Try to settle in and try to chase after Morgan, who right now, or Trevor Malone, right now, Trevor Malone, not only the fastest car on the track, but the fastest lap of the race. We have hit that point now in the run, lap 50. Fuel has sufficiently burned off. These cars are light, nimble, fast. The declining temperature out there, it's bringing out some fast speeds so far.
Finian D'Acunha is our driver profile, correct?
That would be correct.
Finian driver profile, sorry, yes.
That's all right. 28 races there in the Lotus 79 machine. No wins, no poles, 4 top 5s, 9 top 10s with the first start coming in season 3 at Homestead. Best finish, however, second last season right here at Iowa. One more step up the podium is what Finian will be looking for. Let's take a look at P2. Been kind of quiet. Tommy Ryan holding that position down since the start. Ryan Otis just not really being able to make good inroads towards Tommy to make real any serious charge for that position. David Clymer just kind of rolling back there as well.
I was going to say, David Clymer has quietly here, yes, run down Otis and Ryan. I don't know what he'll be able to do now that he's kind of in the wake, so to speak, but that was low-key out of nowhere that David Clymer is all of a sudden in Ryan Otis's rearview mirror.
Well, and if you're looking at the stopwatch there, boys and girls, David Clymer, if he looks at his rearview mirror, Trevor Malone is coming. Lap after lap, consistently 2 to 4 tenths up on every car in front of him. I mean, this could get interesting right before pit stops.
Looking at Trevor Malone. Runs the Lionheart scheme. Trevor was the first ever recipient of a pole award in the Retro Series way back some 3.5 years ago in season 1, Homestead Miami Speedway. Trevor captured the pole, and then I don't remember what happened to Trevor in that race. I don't remember if he was caught up in a netcode wreck or just got buried at some point by something.
There was a lot of netcode in that first race. I vividly remember that.
There was a lot of weird things in that first race. Remember, that's the race that Chris Stouffer was leading, and we had a final caution with like 11 to go, and he blew the thing up trying to burn fuel. That was before any of us knew that, no, you cannot burn fuel in this car like you can in an IndyCar. The reason that stands out so vividly to me is I was in second place at the time also burning fuel, and when he blew up, I went, uh-oh. That's not good. I've been doing it just as long. I also had to take evasive action while in second place on let's look at a lap comparison here. Trevor Malone to Dustin Wardlow, your leader. By the way, Tommy Ryan has started to make inroads even on Wardlow, so I think Wardlow being held up by that traffic. He was stuck behind Scott Holmes for a while. He finally got around him, and now Wardlow has Anzaldo and Paulson in front of him who are racing for position, even though they're both his teammates. So here's your lap comparison, and look what Trevor Malone has done. He's just getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and
quietly getting to work. I mean, that's the kind of night that you could describe for that 34 driver. Quietly getting the job done. Caution. Put it out.
That almost holy smokes. Wait until you see that. Oh, man, it's Chris Reagan. Chris Reagan went around all on his own, and, man, Dustin Wardlow almost drove right into him.
A real lazy spill. Goodness. Lazy spin is kind of the easiest way to describe that.
And Candyman. Buy a lotto ticket tonight, my friend. It's not often in this car that you get away with making a wheel adjustment like that off throttle and don't spin the thing out. That was impressive stuff by Dustin Wardlow. Rough moment for Chris Reagan. He was too high on the track. Yeah, as we talked about whether the high line would come in, and he was up there in Canada region. Around he went. He got a pretty good piece of the wall as well. Green flag or yellow flag pit stops, I should say, our first pit stop of the night comes on lap 63. We were almost at the end of a fuel run.
Everybody on board. I don't think anybody wants to stop under green flag here. Minimum 2 laps lost. On the binders, everybody getting where they need to be. I don't see the cars going up, just fuel going in for all of our leaders.
Wardlow out first, battle for second. Tommy Ryan beats Otis. Then Clymer. Here comes Trevor Malone, Aaron Morgan. Jenkins will beat out Finian, Rasimus, and Sage. Sage picked up a spot there on Jason Bossi. Actually, looks like he might have lost one to Bobby Mikes as well. Chris Fowler also lost some spots, so I think that's going to put Sage Karam into the top 10 for the first time tonight.
No one rolled the dice whatsoever.
Well, I mean, you only have 10 laps left after that. So
It would have been a bold strategy.
It would have. I tell you what, here's what's not a bold strategy. Let's give everybody a chance to go refill their cocktail and take a break. And we'll take a break. When we return, green flag will fly once again. You're watching the Thumbs Up Cancer Down 150 from Iowa Speedway on the iRacing Esports Network. Welcome back to the Iowa Speedway. And the Thumbs Up Cancer Down 150 of the Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel. Lights are off on the Mustang pace car, and the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, will bring us back to the green. The first restart of the night comes as we come to lap 68 of 172 here at Iowa, and somebody might have missed a shift back there. Trevor Malone slowed up, and Aaron Morgan rolls the top side and will get around him, and behind him, here comes Jenkins and Finian to the top side. Sage Karam making a move down low on Rasmus as well. Business picking back up here on the restart.
Picking up where that battle left off right before the yellow flag. Battle for seventh is just there. You see Morgan and Malone both being able to get there. 3 wide behind them. Sage, Jenkins, and Rasmus. That settled out before the corner. Rasmus bailed. Got a run on Jenkins. Jenkins might very well drop 2 spots here. Try and roll the top. We've seen, though, that 35 machine struggle on corner exit. Everybody on pit road that last time. Oh, caution, no! Big wreck.
No, not Sage, sorry. It looked like
Ricky
Sage.
Harden. Ricky Harden.
Fine. Sage and Ricky Harden look similar. I get a pass on that one, right?
Sure.
They look close enough to me on first glance. I just looked over at the director's camera and saw a car sliding through the grass. It is Ricky Harden, who was in P13 at the time. Oh, somebody's upside down. Who was that?
That was that the newcomer?
Matt Taylor?
That was Matt Taylor. Yeah, those cars look exactly the same.
Just like started Chris Fowler, so we're going to have him go on board here. Oh, and it's Taylor. Taylor runs into Fowler.
Corns is in it. Oh, there's a bunch of cars that piled in at the end. One stuck up in the fence. I mean, can we... Oof.
Oh, man, this ends up being much bigger than you realize on first glance. There's a riding shotgun car, little train. Lionel drove through it. He got some netcode contact. I don't know if he's got any damage.
Rigney on pit road. So is Rasmus.
Rasmus was up ahead of this.
Maybe he's got a plan. Yeah, I was thinking there. 100 laps to go.
Get enough cautions, you never know.
You never know. Take a swing at it.
Rigney ended up in that late. He got into corns, and you know who else did? George and Zaldo went sliding into that as well with some pretty heavy contact. Chris Tague just snuck through. It's funny, it looks like George might have snuck through that with the good old netcode contact as well. You know, in iRacing, there are moments, Yaz, where netcode is your best friend. And man, are there moments where it's the devil.
I think you and I have both lived that same experience. I think within the last 2 weeks.
I was gonna say, I think semi recently. I think last night you might have been benefit of the positives of netcode, and I was benefit of the negative all at the same time. in a 45-minute stretch.
Well, and then remember 2 weeks ago I had a car kind of nudge me and I lost a rear wing. And right. Mark had a whole car land on his, and he was able to roll around just fine.
That's right.
Richie Hurd. Did Richie get a part of that? Noticing him on pit road.
Richie
a lap off of the lead.
Richie was buried in last of the lead lap cars, I think. Or actually, he'd even lost a lap towards the end of that run. I don't know if he got it back. Looks like he did get it back. Well, maybe not. No, I'm showing him as the first car lap down, right?
Yep.
First car 1 lap down for Richie Hearn. So that might just be a fuel play for him, hoping maybe at this point, if you're lap down, that's the right thing, right? Load up on fuel and hope that the next pit cycle, everybody else pits and you can stay out and get a wave. It's your only real option.
Well, and then, and most of our team last night was under that exact same strategy when the caution landed the absolute wrong time. And then the pace car did. There was something weird there. But half of our team last night was on that exact same strategy of, we're a lap down, load up on fuel, and hope for the best.
And it worked for pretty much all of you, I think.
Yeah, well, you and Chris got you and Chris got the good part where you got on the other side of it. So you had great finishes. Tyler and I drug back up for top tens.
So I never went a lap down last night, thankfully. I managed to stay ahead of it, but I
And
don't know
I'm
about
just,
a great finish.
I'm,
Great
no, no,
finish for me.
I'm just
I ended up
excluding
15.
that. I mean, if we look at 227 laps of that race, you had a fantastic night.
It was a great night, as we have discussed often in our team chats today. That was the first time in my Lionheart career, and I didn't win the race. And I've won, I got to think 6 or 7 Lionheart IndyCar races in my career, and that was the first time where I think I compared today. I said I felt like Sage Karam or Adam Blocker, where I could just do anything I wanted whenever and nobody could stop me. And man, if that wasn't one of the coolest feelings, it'll probably never happen again. And so it's a shame that I didn't win the race because of it. But I got to tell you, man, I had more fun last night finishing 15th than I've had winning races before. So that was pretty cool. Our team had a good night last night too. The Loud Pedal gang was really on it. Really, really. The team has really come together of late, I feel like. Pace car gonna peel off here, looks like. And we are gonna go back to green flag racing after our second caution of the night. It's Wardlow, Otis, Tommy Ryan, Clymer, Aaron Morgan, then Trevor Malone, Finian, Sage up to 8th, Paul Jenkins, Jason Fossey. Green flag, back out here at Iowa. Tommy Ryan got a great restart. He is all over Otis as they head into turn 1.
Life and laps coming at you fast here at the Iowa Speedway. See everybody kind of filing into a single file line. First battle though, Sage Karam trying to get him while everybody's grouped up. Juke moving up to the 7th spot, taking that away from Finian. Now going under attack and trying to get the 6th spot away from Trevor Malone. I'll tell you what though, Jason, that 2 car, he's going to make it interesting when he gets up here.
When he gets up there, but first he's got to get around some of these other cars. And Trevor Malone, who he's racing with right now, I know from experience, is one of the hardest drivers in this series to pass. He will not make it easy on Sage. And look at the run he gets down the back straightaway, using that high line. Trevor's used that top side better than anybody else thus far. And Sage just cannot clear him or get a big enough run. Going to take another shot at it here, and then Sage ended up getting arrow washed by Aaron Morgan there just ahead of him. That's not going to help Sage either. Every time he gets down there, he loses the air. And if you don't think arrow wash is a real thing, the first lap back around under green, Dustin Wardlow was 0.3 of a second quicker than Ryan Otis. He's 0.2 quicker this last time, and Otis was 0.2 quicker than Tommy Ryan. So even at a distance of a second, half second to a second, there's still plenty of arrow wash. Look at Sage again, coming right out to Trevor Malone. A lot of trust between these two.
In Iowa, you kind of have to take that last half an inch whenever you can get it. The tighter spaces, the tighter radiuses, you see Sage sending it to the bottom. Going to try a slide job, not going to quite get there. But with these tight quarters, you have to get every ounce of momentum that you can squeeze out of these cars. So that's where you see they come together off the corner exit and almost touch lap after lap.
These cars are inherently set up a little tight because light fuel and worn tires will free them up. And also because, and Andrew Kinsella, who builds the setups here in the Lionheart series, will tell you, with this car, you just can't set it up too free because of its kind of instinct of this car to spin as we got a caution, and I think Sage is going to get Malone because of that, trying to figure out where it's at. Third caution of the night.
Put it out for Mardi Gras. He's a 31 machine sitting on pit road.
And this is going to happen all by himself in 1 and 2. Boy, This is very Chris Reagan-esque. Well, it's interesting as we talk about the bump down low, but watch Dean's car here.
Yeah, there's another one up there.
I was just going to say, I guess because we never run the IndyCar that high up in the gray, we don't realize it, but apparently there's a decent-sized bump up top, too. You should be able to see it real good here.
Now, let me tell you what, though.
Bump, spin.
Yep. It's the same bump. I found that actually in a stock car a couple years ago, where just messing around when they rolled out the way that the heat interacted with the track and the tires, and you watch the groove potentially move around. So one race, I think a couple of us went up there and tried to run that the high, wide, and handsome line in turn 1, and you find that bump really fast.
Is it in the same spot as the low line one? Is it all part of that tunnel? No, different spot. Okay.
It might be the other edge of it. Now kind of coming to think about it.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen that come into play in an open wheel car, but it's clear as day in that great onboard that Sean got us from Mardi Gras' car there. You could see it, a bump, and a half second later, around she went. Looks like we had a couple pit road takers. Matt Houston in his debut was on pit road. Scott Holmes, Mike Rigney also came.
I'm not making it from here.
Tommy Ryan pitted. Tommy Ryan out of second place came to pit road. Oh, man. Boy, you talk about having a little bit of faith. I wonder if I'm Tommy Ryan, if this is your plan, I'm coming in to top off.
Absolutely.
When the lights go out here. Like, there's no reason not to. You're at the back. Who cares about the lap cars? And we're going to it'll be 84 to go this time by, which they might be on 2 to go, so we might get 1 to go this time, so he would pit, come out at 84, go green at 83. They say 75 is a full run solo. And let's say you can save 5 laps in traffic, right, Yaz? So that gets you to 80, and you need to go 83. Well, if everybody else pits and they're 2 laps behind you, you could run 3 laps without losing 2 more, right?
Kick it neutral and coast.
I kind of like this play from Tommy Ryan. Now we've got to go. Well, I guess we don't even have to go caution free, because a caution would get him there and it'd cycle him to the lead. I mean, either way, this seems like a smart play from Tommy Ryan. He does not come in here to top off, but the lights are still on. So if he's going to make that move, it will come when they come 2 to green. And by the way, Richie Hearn is back in to fill back up, although, as we mentioned, a lap down. Although, again, if you don't have to pit again, you lose at least 1 lap on pit road, likely 2. And that means Richie Hearn could find himself cycled to second place 1 lap down if this went green to the end.
Stranger things have happened.
Where'd you finish? A lap down. Where'd you end up? Second. All right. Be curious to see if Tommy ducks off and if anybody else follows him here.
Tommy's clutching it, rolling around here, just kind of watching the onboard, watching the tack.
Again, I think you got to be crazy not to top off at this point. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. He's not coming.
If it's 2 to green and you're coming,
lights are off. He would have come there. He didn't come. That's interesting. If this, I still think I want to be the one who tops off at that point. I'm sure he looked in his mirror and was like, "Man, there's a lot of race cars that I could potentially then be stuck behind." But also, you've been the second fastest car most of the night. There's only 5 or 6 cars. I tell you who else came. Matt Houston came. Tom Dreiling came.
Little sub strategy that has developed here.
Matt Houston is on the lead lap in his series debut, and I wonder if coming in and topping off there doesn't end up helping him a bunch. Well, what a story that would be. Welcome to Lionheart. Here's where to go get your interview. Well, here we go, coming to green. Candyman out front, Dustin Wardlow leads Otis, Clymer, Morgan, and Sage Karam up to P5. Green flag flies, and Sage is all over Aaron Morgan, looking to make a move into turn 1. And Sage will get it done. Slides right up in front of Morgan. Makes Morgan have to crack the throttle. Aaron's going to try to cross him over. And Sage shuts the door. Oh, boy. Aaron Morgan almost dumped him.
Sage closed the door, but Aaron still had a foot in that door.
The teammates, Bossy and Finian, working on Trevor Malone just behind them at 6th, 7th, and 8th. And Sage sets his sights on David Clymer for 3rd. Sage inside a Clymer, behind them, Finian inside of Trevor Malone. Trevor Malone going the wrong direction as Finian gets by. And here comes his teammate Jason Bossy. Senrock on the move. The Malone's going to roll the outside of Bossy here. Whoa, boy, that got close. Look out the rear wing of Finian.
Finian deciding he wants to get far away from that battle.
Don't blame him. Meanwhile, up front, Sage Karam made easy work of David Clymer and is closed in on Ryan Otis for 2nd place.
Really is a coming of Sage story here tonight, starting at the 19th spot, working his way aggressively up now to the 3rd spot. Just that level of commitment, though. I mean, we see it week in and week out in the driver, that's holding the steering wheel in that number 2 machine. Aggressive, but more often than not, that aggression pays off.
It's like Sage has hit the proverbial wall of air here behind Otis. And I don't know, I have my mic on. Trevor just got on the radio and said something, and that happened as Jason Bossy went around. Oh, you know what? They made contact. Oh, wow. Boy, I don't know if it's possible to go back. Lap 97, mid-corner. Look at this. Jason Bossy and Trevor Malone, wait till they get to turn 1 and 2, because this is a hold my diaper moment if I've ever seen one.
Nice and scary after turn 4. Ooh.
Well, they definitely bumped. Caution!
Oh, it's the 97 Little Train. Put it out.
Oh, no, that's big in the championship hunt. And Little Train got a big wall, and it happened with Bobby Mikes. Oh, this was right behind Trevor Malone. They got stacked up. These two got stacked up. And they came off of turn 4 3 wide, and that's how it ended in turn 1. They were almost 3 wide off of turn 4 at least.
I believe if you watch this one real deep, you're going to notice there's probably about a foot between both drivers.
At Code
there
City.
It is. All right, we'll move on from that.
I feel bad for Little Train. Man. Lionel Kalisto.
Most everybody coming to pit road, final pit stops.
Little Train came into this race 3rd in points. He has 2 points behind Sage Karam and gets net coded out of it, essentially. And you're right, here are all the leaders on the pit road. Tommy Ryan. Wardlow hits his stall. And now here's the battle off. Here comes Sage. Wardlow on it, beats him out, but Sage jumps Otis. Boy, Sage Karam is just a machine on pit road in a virtual car. And he beats Wardlow, or everybody but Wardlow off. So Wardlow, Karam, Otis, Clymer, Morgan is how they come off. And the cars on the lead lap that stayed out, Tommy Ryan and Matt Houston. Well, welcome to Lionheart, Matt Houston. First race, and you're finding yourself in 2nd place behind Tommy Ryan. The lapped car in between you is real-life IndyCar winner Richie Hearn. Behind you is the guy who won the last Lionheart Retro race, Dustin Wardlow. And behind him is a guy who just raced in the Indy 500 4 days ago in Sage Karam. Matt Houston's got to be texting his friends right now like, guys, look around. Check this out. Boy, Mike Rasmus stayed out too. I missed that. I got no idea what he's thinking.
You know, I was trying to figure out a nice way to say that, and I couldn't come up with it. He's way outside the fuel window.
I got no idea how he's thinking. Mike Rasmus has been out 14 laps longer than Tommy Ryan. So if Rasmus is going to make it to the end from here, he is going to need multiple cautions. I'm not saying it's not possible, Yaz. I'm just saying you're going to need a lot of yellows if you are going to go what would amount to 100 laps on a tank.
So what you're telling me, Jason, is that while my dreams of
on every restart, he'll be good.
Well, so my dreams of becoming an Olympic long skier, possible, not probable. Mike Rasmus making it to the end of this race with the fuel in his tank, possible, not probable.
Mike Rasmus has a significantly better chance of making it to the end than you do of even getting up on the skis. So
that's very accurate.
Yeah. And you live in northern Michigan, so you'd figure you would know how to ski.
Nope.
Good for you.
I know how to crash really good.
I was going to say I wouldn't learn either.
Yeah. Not my style.
You guys want me on something with 2 skis on it? Give me a track on the back. I could ride a snowmobile all day. Lights are out. Something Mike Rasmus didn't want to see. I'm waiting for Mike Rasmus to come on and go, race control, there's debris.
It's raining.
Debris everywhere. We're going to need about 30 more laps of caution.
Yeah. There's a couple dumpsters that all dumped out and just paper everywhere. All right, we poke fun up here at the booth, but hey, stranger things have happened.
Green flag in the air as Mike Rasmus brings us back across the line. And Sage Karam got a huge jump and clears Dustin Wardlow. Wardlow going to try to get him back. And can't do it. That could be monumental when everything shakes out here. As Sage goes under the rookie Houston. Who almost got into the wall.
Houston almost had a problem there off of turn 2. Yeah, Sage getting around Dustin on that restart. That is absolutely massive, considering that these guys probably aren't coming to pit road anymore. So Dustin knows he's going to have to get that back the hard way out the track.
The worst part for Dustin is Sage got around him and then got around Houston and now gets around Richie. And Sage is driving away and Dustin cannot get around the rookie Houston. Although it looks like he'll do it here. Maybe not. Houston battling back. Wardlow gets him here. Dives it right to the bottom. Ryan Otis trying to come with him. Can't get it done. Rasmus has just checked out front, along with Ryan, then back to Karam, and now here's Otis, who just got around Houston, as Dustin Wardlow gets around the lap car of Richie Hearn. And that will be Otis's next target. climber now around Houston. I tell you what, props to Matt Houston in his first Lionheart Retro Series event here. And he is being very clean despite the aggressive maneuvering of all the other cars around him. As here comes Aaron Morgan and Bobby Mikes trying to catch up to Houston and follow along with Wardlow. .60 laps to go this time by. They are 3 wide behind Wardlow in turn 3. Almost 4 wide off the corner and almost wrecking.
Houston, Morgan, Mike's, Bossy. One big gaggle running around here.
Throw Finian into this mix now.
See that
Oh,
top
Bobby,
lead?
don't do it.
Whew, Bobby thought about it.
That was tempting, I'm sure.
Bossy just can't get the rotation in turns 1 and 2 to get clear of Houston. Houston power back to the top side.
Oh, nice save by Jason Bossy. That car made a big move. It allows Bobby Mikes around. Here comes Finian. Now he's going to take a crack at the low line.
Bobby with the top to bottom move. Top of turn 4, bottom of turn 1. Ooh, that number 43.
Let's see if Finian and Bossy learned anything from that.
Houston almost learned something right there.
Finian gets around. Bossy almost made contact with Houston out of the corner. Into turn 1. As Mikes and Finian check out. Boy, Jason Bossy is getting awfully frustrated. Trying to get around Matt Houston, who's not doing anything wrong. Bossy just can't clear him, and they are coming dangerously close on corner exit every time. This time.
Nope, not quite. Get him in 3 here.
Into
Slide
the
up,
corner.
Jason. Get it.
And Jason Bossy
He's got it.
finally gets the job done and moves back into the top 10. Look at the ground he lost. Behind him, Paul Jenkins. And I tell you who's coming. Mike Rigney has just been slicing and dicing behind these two. This went around George and Zaldo. He's running an unconventional line. There he is just behind Houston now as Jenkins gets by. On board with Mike Rigney. The Asher Racing on board.
Though riding on board here, you get that sense of speed. I mean, you're running around here at $160 at the bottom end of the corner. It's up to about $170, $175 down the front stretch. And you really, like I said, you just kind of get on board and you see how this place just kind of lulls you in. It's really easy to log laps. It's really kind of easy to lose track of where you're at in the run. So if you're a driver that maybe looks to the little ladder goals and the stepping stones, Iowa's a spot that you really kind of have to be keeping track of what's going on at all points, just so you don't kind of get lost in the ebb and the flow of the race.
This track is so busy, a little less so in this car, but the IndyCar, 2.5 seconds quicker a lap. You're in a corner for, 13 seconds a lap in a 17, 18 second lap. And man, you're right. Yeah, that's a great point. It's easy to just kind of forget where you're at. Boy, Chris Tagg just made a hellacious move behind Scotty Holmes, and now he's diving it under George and Zaldo.
Almost didn't work.
No idea where that came from. Tagg just
he's
found
running
here.
He's running that real high lane in turns 3 and 4. I was kind of dabbling with it last night. If you hook the right sides along that seam, and if you get it just right, you can get a big head of steam. And I think you're going to watch just behind here. Watch, he's going to go way up there, Here comes that big head of steam. Rolled into it that time. See if he does it again.
Big knee around Houston and starts to pull away. Tag underneath Anzaldo.
Top to bottom. Oh, George.
Oh, Tag. Tag onto it, baby. Chris Tag spins up the track. Caution is out. He's upside down.
Oh,
no. Through Travis Jagerleiner. Man, that was late, Trav. Oh, man, I love Travis, but he arrived to the scene of the crime about a week late, and that's going to end his night, too. Here's another look.
Travis getting his training with the AMR safety team. First one to arrive at the scene of the accident, unfortunately.
He was by, but Sean Ambrose just jumped in our ear, and he was right. Travis was totally blind to that.
We joke. We joke about it, but just literally what we were just talking about before that caution, you make so much speed around this track and things happen so fast that you think you have that extra moment to react, and you just don't.
But I tell you who did not want to see that caution, yes.
Who?
Tommy Ryan. Because if Tommy thinks that caution made him good to go, man, he was free and clear of Sage Karam when that yellow came out.
Driver of that
Had about a second lead.
Yeah, he was gapping it just a hair, but what's gonna make or break this race is gonna be the slow traffic that these drivers are gonna run into at the end if they get a long enough run. Probably say about 30 laps, give or take, that you're gonna start seeing those leaders running to the back of the pack.
Trevor Malone to pit road, and he has some front wing damage. So, the driver who was the fastest car in the field the first 60 laps or so is now all the way back there in 18th, the last car on the lead lap. The front wing damage. For you Trevor Malone fans out there.
Well, Mike Rasmus staying out. He's really sticking to that strategy.
I'm telling you, Rasmus's plan at this point, Dustin, I think, Dustin, listen to me, Brian, is to hope that he can keep Dustin and Sage behind him and get enough yellows. And I don't know that that's a terrible strategy at this point. Kind of make your bed. I mean, here's the thing about Mike Rasmus, right? He is not in the points. He just got here 5 races ago. He's got 4 top 5s and 5 top 10s in 5 races. And remember last race? He finished 3rd behind Wardlow and Lotus. And what did he do in post-race, Yaz?
Told
us how disappointed he was that he hasn't won a race yet. So, I mean, here he is. This is similar, I think, to the decision that I had made at Pocono last week in the IndyCar, where I just said, you know what? I'd rather be out front and hope we get some cautions than be stuck in 8th or 9th and be good to go. And I didn't get the yellows, but I mean, Rasmus has gotten 2 already. And if he's committed to this, man, let me tell you, if we go green to the end and he stays out in front with Tommy Ryan behind him, that is going to make for a ton of fun for you and I up here in the booth.
Definitely going to make this last part of the race very, very interesting to see which pit strategy was the right one to make. I mean, let's kind of reset the stage here. We've got 42 laps to go currently here at the Iowa Speedway. Mike, questionable on fuel. Tommy, we're fairly certain that
at this point,
I
think he's safe at this point, Yaz. I think he's safe.
Reasonable certainty. I'll use that expression. Reasonable certainty. And then, of course, everybody behind Tommy good to go. But we've seen where some guys can execute passes, some drivers cannot. I mean, we're getting down to it, 41. We're going to be getting the green with 40 to go. If you know how to pass, you're going to have to do it. If you don't know how to pass, you're going to have to learn how to figure it out here for this last stint.
And Sage has just been a rocket ship. ran out of talent there. Sage has just been a rocket ship on restarts so far, which means Tommy Ryan and Mike Rasmuth need to be looking in the rearview mirror.
The old expression, sitting on the hot stove with sweat ice water. I think Mike is going to experience that firsthand here.
Here we go. Green flag is back out. And Sage, again, all over Tommy Ryan. Tries to make a move. Tommy Ryan thought about throwing a block. Didn't work. Sage Karam slides up. Tommy's still there. Oh, he squeezed him. They touched. Sage saved it. They made contact, and Sage saved it.
Rock meet a movable object coming down the backstretch there. Neither driver willing to budge.
Boy, it is not often that you see open wheel cars come wheel to wheel like that. One of them jump off the ground and everybody
Aaron
got a big
Morgan
wreck
behind him. Aaron Morgan was sideways. It looks like the 17 is involved. 35 of Jenkins. Put it out.
Jason Bossy's car heavily damaged. And it starts with Morgan and Bobby Mikes.
Oh.
Boy, this is just one of those. This is what I call an Iowa wreck, yeah. This happened to me last season here with Adam Blocker in turn 3. Same situation, right? Adam went in down low, got a run, started pushing up. At the same time, I was kind of turning down the track from that middle lane to get a run off, and you just kind of meet. And that's what happens here. Bobby and Aaron come together. Bobby gets through. Aaron does not, and a couple of really good race cars go with him. Jason Bossy and Paul Jenkins made contact. Boy, Jason Bossy, man, I just watched him. He chased that thing all the way down the back straightaway. Another rough week for Bossy, who has so many fans who tune in.
Bad news for those drivers under this last caution, or bringing out this last caution. Jason, let's take a moment, and I know I'm going to throw it to you here. We're going to talk about Thumbs Up Cancer Down. I know it's very, very near and dear to your heart. Let's give the fans at home, if they've never heard of Thumbs Up Cancer Down, what's the elevator pitch, Jason?
I appreciate that, Yaz. And first, I just want to say thank you to you as one of the co-owners of Loud Pedal Motorsports, which is the team that I'm fortunate enough to be a part of with you over on the IndyCar side, that has adopted Thumbs Up Cancer Down and taken them on. And our two teams are Thumbs Up and Cancer Down. Everybody runs it. Thumbs Up Cancer Down. You see that beautiful logo Tyler Graff made there for the Iowa 150 on your screen. Bakersfield, California. It's where I call home now and have for the last 6 years. It is a charity that is local to Bakersfield in Central California, but we can help cancer patients all over the world. Go to thumbsupcancerdown.com. You can learn more. My wife and I are on the board of directors for this charity that I care so much about. There are plenty of amazing charities out there that support cancer research and support cancer patients in a fiscal way, a monetary way, or in times of need. They help them get to and from chemo. They help with housing and whatnot. And those charities are all equally worthy of any time or monetary donation people out there can afford to give. There's nobody on this planet at this point who doesn't know somebody who is affected by cancer. And Yaz, you of all people are feeling that right now, because today was the funeral of your good friend Bryce Whitson, who knows, without Bryce, you and I may never be teammates, right? So I know how much that hits home for you. And Thumbs Up Cancer Down, what we do is we've created these Power Up packs, and we distribute them to hospitals in Central California, and we can mail them out. If you go to thumbsupcancerdown.com, there's a request section. If you know somebody battling cancer, these packs are specifically made for people battling cancer. They've got blankets, they've got beanies for when you lose your hair. They're specially made so they don't irritate the skin. And if you know somebody who's gone through chemo or radiation, you know that, man, they don't want to be touched by anything. Sometimes it's like a sunburn, right? You don't want to sleep in your own bed at night because it hurts so much. And these blankets and beanies are designed to kind of help alleviate that and also keep them warm. there's a journal so they can kind of track their own process, especially now during COVID-19. More than ever, patients are being forced to get treatment on their own, and that's not a fun feeling. There's a phone charger, there's hand sanitizer, there's a bag it comes in that you can take with you, and take your stuff to your treatment. So that's why I feel so strongly about this organization, because it's unique in that sense, in that it puts a tangible set of items in the hands of cancer patients, and gives them things that they need, and just kind of lets them know, there are other people out there who are thinking about them too. And even if they're fighting the fight on their own that day, they're never really alone. So thumbsupcancerdown.com. Thumbsupcancerdown.com is the website if you're interested in learning more, or if you feel the need or feel pulled at all to maybe give a small donation. We would certainly appreciate it. We know how tough times are right now during COVID-19. And I appreciate everybody at Lionheart and GSRC for letting me make Thumbs Up Cancer Down such a big part of this league. Lights are off on the pace car here with Mike Rasmus, your leader. And thanks again, Thumbs Up Cancer Down, for sponsoring the Thumbs Up Cancer Down 150. Mike Rasmus, Tommy Ryan, Sage Karam, Dustin Wardlow, Ryan Otis, green flag back out. Rasmus and Ryan get a much better restart that time. Sage is not close enough to make a move as they head off into turn one, Yaz.
Someone who didn't get a good restart, the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, under attack from Ryan Otis. Ryan going to try and clear him off of turn 2. Not going to quite get there. Going to take the fight to turn 3. Cleared. Move Otis up to the 4th spot, but here comes the Candyman with retribution on his mind.
Yeah, the crossover move from Dustin Wardlow, and he gets tight down low. Otis going to beat him in the drag race down the back straightaway for now. Wardlow's still there.
Oh, Sage, Karam, Tommy Ryan battle for the 2nd spot. This battle is heating up. We've already seen it almost come to a head. Here comes Tommy trying to maintain a run.
Tommy got up the track. Tommy almost got into the wall there, and he had the lift, and Sage Karam goes to 2nd.
Now, if you're Mike Rasmus, that's not what you wanted to see.
Not at all. And poor Mike Rasmus now, he's got to be thinking to himself, like, I want it to go to the end so that maybe Sage doesn't get here. By the time he does, he can't make a move. But does Mike have enough fuel to go to the end is the question. 29 to go as they cross the stripe. And boy, for Tommy Ryan, whose pit strategy appeared to be perfect, Brian, he ends up right back where he left off in what is essentially 2nd place if Rasmus cannot go the distance.
It's frustrating nights when that works out that way.
Had to be sitting there thinking to himself, this worked out perfect. But then Sage happened.
So allow me to fill in the gaps for the viewers at home. Mike Rasmus has not pitted in 73 laps. Again, if you remember from the front end of the broadcast, 75 laps is the solo run that we were expecting. So really what that means is with 26 laps to go, Mike Rasmus is about to enter no man's land. We don't know if he's going to make it. He might not.
And if you think 26 laps is a long time, Yaz, do the math for the viewers at home real quick. How much time is left in this race?
Right about 8.5 minutes.
It's going to fly by real quick. Sage is not gaining on Rasmus at a discernible clip, at least at this point. In fact, last time by, the fastest car on the track was your leader, Mike Rasmus. So I tell you what, Yaz, if he's short on fuel, he's not saving.
Well, I mean, it's either at the point that he's so short that it's like, okay, why save? Just go full attack and see what happens.
Either I need at least one more yellow no matter what, or I'm good to go to the end. That's essentially what Mike Rasmus is announcing right now. As Sage Karam clicks off the fastest lap of the race, although only 200s quicker than Mike Rasmus. They were the 2 fastest cars the whole race that last time around. Ironically, Bobby Mikes was also equally as quick as those 2.
This time jumping into the top 5 there. good move on the Candyman. I saw it on my screen. I don't think it made the broadcast. Power move off the top, but somehow Bobby Mikes has got the fuse lit, and he's coming.
Sage Karam into the threes, a 1939, and Rasmus had a bad lap that time. He ran a 47. See what happens this time. Rasmus runs a 46, Sage runs a 40. Just like that, 20 to go, knock knock, here comes Sage Karam. And don't look now, but Bobby Mikes, who just blew by Dustin Wardlow, is all over Ryan Otis for fourth.
Where did he come from? Bobby running the top lanes in both ends of the speedway.
And he was the fastest car on the track last time, Yaz, running the high side.
He's making speed, and look at this run he's going to get on Otis.
I can't believe nobody else has looked at Bobby and been like, you know what? That seems like a really good idea. Got a little checked up by Otis last time. We'll take you back to the front if anything develops up there, but this is your best battle right now for fourth, and Bobby's there. Bobby Mikes to fourth.
Incredible drive at the end of this race.
The lead is evened out. Last time by Mike Rasmus and Sage Karam were within 1,000th of each other, and let me tell you though, you know what Mike Rasmus does not want to see right now is what's right in front of him, and that's a lapped car of Ricky Harden. Ricky off the pace with some damage from that spin earlier.
Oh, he's
That'll
running
still
right
upset
in
your
his
car.
lane.
And he's right in his lane, Yaz, as you said.
Oh, but at least he caught him on the front stretch. Sage is probably going to have the bigger issue dealing with Ricky off of turn 2.
Well, you called that dead on. And I'm not even sure Sage will get to him into 3.
Probably get the
He
run
does
low
as
here.
Ricky stays high.
Should get that momentum out. I mean, and also if you're Sage and you're 98% confident that Mike Rasmus can't make it, Jason, from the driver's seat, you're not going to go up there and attack. If you know someone's way short on fuel, you're not going to go up there.
Look at Rasmus is feeling the heat. Did you see the weave down the back straight there he has?
Trying to break that.
14 to go, and he's trying to break the draft. And now Sage is going to follow. Pretty equal that time around.
I mean, if there is any bobble out of that number 68 machine, Sage Karam will be there. I mean, I just keep looking back, though. I keep looking at, there's that time. Bobby, he's chunking it up. He's going to make a ride at Tommy Ryan.
Tommy Ryan. I was just going to say, Bobby Mikes has caught Tommy Ryan. You saw it at the back of your screen there.
The meat man.
Let's take a look.
If you haven't noticed, everybody with the food nickname, they show up at the Iowa Hangings, just as an FYI.
Yeah, well, you know, Dustin Wardlow brings the chews, Bobby brings the meat.
You and I bring the mouth.
Well, got to be good for something, right?
Yeah.
Brandon Limkeman shows up with the Toppers rum. It's great.
And those buzz balls.
Oh, man. Well, yeah.
Let me tell you what. It's really hard to toss a beanbag when all of a sudden the floor turns into a waterbed.
Tyson Landis just set the fastest lap of the race by a mile, but he's buried back in 13th, so that won't matter. And Sage closed a 10th that time. Rasmus slowed to a 63. That is super slow, and I wonder if Mike's going to realize that low line he's running. I think he has. I think that's scrubbing speed for him.
It is. I mean, especially with, we talked about it plenty of times, but there he goes and runs 46.
I was just going to say, he comes back with quick. And Tommy Ryan goes purple at 32.
What is happening?
Tommy Ryan listened to the broadcast. Yeah, Tommy just listened to the broadcast and went, Bobby Mikes too. Let me show you what I can do.
Hold my Northern tools and equipment. Watch this.
8 laps to go. Bobby to the outside of Ryan. Tries to cross him under. Look at Ryan get loose off of 2.
Bobby going back out to the high side. Get that momentum up. Swinging low. Sweet Chariot coming to take Bobby into the podium.
Tommy's got the run back.
Almost. Four cars under a blanket here with 6 laps to go. And with the look that Otis has, all these 4 cars in front of him will somehow wreck.
Say, Ryan Otis is actually the fastest car on the track right now. He and Dustin Wardlow. Tyson Landis just went into the 2s. Well, you talk about too late. Tyson Landis found a way to run a 19:29. Why are you in 13th, kid? 5 to go.
And notice that last lap.
Sage.
That last lap, Tommy went to the top, tried to block Bobby. Bobby's going to swing to the bottom, not going to have the momentum. Tommy gets a little bit of a wiggle.
4 to go. Rasmus is out of fuel. Mike Rasmus is out of fuel with 4 to go. Sage Karam to the lead.
Thrill of victory and the agony of defeat here in Newton, Iowa. Sage Karam moving to the lead as Mike Rasmus, Cinderella slipper, has been lost. Bobby's into the fence.
Bobby Mikes loses a spot to Ryan Otis, and now Tommy Ryan has 2.5 laps to try and go get Sage Karam.
Going to be a hard task. Like a dog chasing a car. What are you going to do when you get there, Tommy?
Gap is 0.4 of a second. 2 to go.
Candyman
Dustin
purple.
Wardlow goes purple.
Tommy, visually, he's closing the gap, but I think he might need a little bit more time, Jason. 1 to go.
White flag is out in Newton, Iowa, and the thumbs up cancer down 150. Bobby Mikes goes back to P3 behind these two, and Sage Karam will lead him down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. Tommy Ryan will run out of time. Sage Karam from 19th to victory lane, and the thumbs up cancer down 150. Tommy Ryan comes home in 2nd, and how about that? Bobby Mikes with a podium finish, able to steal 3rd from Ryan Otis with 2 laps to go. It's Otis and Candyman. That's your top 5. That was a whale of a finish. We're going to talk to Sage Karam, Tommy Ryan, Bobby Mikes, and boy, oh boy, if I don't hope Mike Rasmus pops in as well for a little bit of a conversation. What a night in the thumbs up cancer down 150. Sage Karam returns to victory lane in the Retro Series here on the iRacing Esports Network and the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back to the Thumbs Up Cancer Down 150 here at the Iowa Speedway in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. This race is in the books, and this is the HyperX post-race show. Lionheart Racing Series is powered by our good friends at HyperX. When you're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium, it pays to have an ultra-comfortable, high-quality headset that gives you the audio information you need to grab the checkered flag. On top of that, they have high-performance DRAM and SSDs, outstanding microphones, accurate mice. They've got responsive keyboards, and of course, the legendary cloud line of gaming headsets both Yaz and I are wearing right now. HyperX makes the gaming gear you need to succeed. Casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture, we are all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Use the promo code LionHRT15 at HyperXGaming.com. And if you don't have a pair of these HyperX headphones, next segment, well, fear not, because we're going to put up the Turn Racing finishing order on our screen for you to see. Turn Racing, merging the gap between real and sim racing. They have a promo code. It's Lionheart10, turnracing.com. Sage Karam didn't lead much, but he led when it matters. Shoots to the front at the end and picks up his 12th career win in 25 starts in this series. Wow. Tommy Ryan, P2, a great run there for Tommy Ryan. That is a new career best finish for Tommy Ryan. Bobby Mikes comes home in third. Ryan Otis and the Candyman, the pole sitter Dustin Wardlow, fifth place, and I have a feeling he's actually going to be disappointed about that, the way this race was looking. David Clymer, Finney, and DeCunha. Mike Rigby, George and Zaldo snuck back up there into the top 10, and so did James Paulson. 10th place, great run for James Paulson, yes.
Absolutely. 11th going to Scott Holmes. Tyson Landis in 12th. 13th to Matt Houston, series debut. Trevor Malone there, 14th, not getting the finish that he probably feels he deserved. Richie Hearn there in the 15th spot with Tom Dreiling. Early trouble, but persevering to a 16th place finish. Mike Rasmus in 17th. My kingdom for a thimbles full of fuel is all he needed, and we would be having a much different discussion at the end of this race. Ricky Harden there in the 18th spot, 19th to Aaron Morgan. Classy Jason Bossy in 20th after some mid-race contact.
21st goes to Paul Jenkins, who was also in that wreck with Bossy. Chris Tegg, 22nd. Travis Jagerlener. Lionel Kalisto, Little Train, boy, third in points coming into this, and that is going to hurt to finish 24th. Mardi Gras comes home 25th, then the rookie Matt Taylor, Ryan Corns, Chris Fowler, all involved in that big wreck. Chris Reagan was our first caution, and he comes home at the tail end of the pack. All right, what do you say? We head on over to the Sim Experience Victory Lane. Sim Experience AccuForce steering system. It's the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive, second only to the real thing. You can see the entire line of products. SimExperience.com. We've talked to this man on nearly half of his starts in the Lionheart Retro Series here in Victory Lane. And for the 12th time in 25 starts, Sage Karam takes home the checkers for the first time here at Iowa Speedway. And Sage, it wasn't pretty for you. You qualified 19th and had to battle your way through the field, but you put yourself in a position, and at the end of the race, you took home the checkers. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Like you said, it wasn't pretty. Qualifying was pretty poor. I did the IndyCar race last night in the Lionheart IndyCar series and started in, I think, 26th and got involved in a wreck. So I wanted to qualify better today because I didn't want to have to go through that again. But unfortunately, I still messed up qualifying somehow and, just didn't have it in qual trim. But, and the race was hard. Dirty air was really bad and, you needed clean air. It was a premium for sure. And I got stuck back there for a while. I was able to benefit from good pit stops and a couple of restarts. I was able to pass some guys. But then other than that, once after it was like 4 or 5 laps of green, I was pretty much stuck behind the car in front. So really interesting race with the fuel. Me and Tommy were obviously racing each other hard because, at first I didn't think he was going to be able to make it. And then we got a couple yellows and then I knew he was going to be able to make it. So I knew I was kind of racing him. But then we kept getting yellows and I was like, Michael might be able to make it now. So, I might have to pass 2 cars now. But fortunately, it went green there at the end, and we were able to grab the win. I mean, those guys ran great strategies and stuff, so you never like to see anybody run out of fuel, but definitely a fun race.
I was going to ask, was there ever a point on that last run there when you got down to 7-8 laps to go? Because we were talking about it on the broadcast, and I know sometimes you run the broadcast, you might have heard us talking about it, that Rasmus, he was not in quote-unquote fuel-saving mode, which either meant he was good to go or he was really short and knew it. Were you ever worried that maybe he was good to go?
Well, I thought, he was a lot worse on fuel than he actually was. Like, I thought he was going to pit around, with like 12 to go or something. So when he stayed out there and we got down to 5 to go, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to make it on fuel. And I knew he was going like 100%, not saving fuel. And that was either for two reasons, whether he was just pushing to try and stay in front and hope for a yellow and then he would make it. Or he just, knew he was not going to make it and wanted to build up as much of a gap and keep some cars behind him. But yeah, I mean, just I didn't know, I didn't know till I saw he said he was pitting in, and it was kind of like a sigh of relief because I couldn't get around him for sure, when we were running there. So these cars, they draft well, but once you got down there on the bottom, it was hard to keep that run. So the passes I had to make tonight had to be super aggressive, almost like reminded me of like dirt track racing we were doing. Guys would get massive runs off the outsides, and then the guys on the insides would almost have to do slide jobs to get in front of them. But a lot of fun.
A lot of fun indeed. Sage, congratulations. A great run tonight. And I know that you've missed some races here because you were getting to do the cool thing and run the real life Indy 500. So this will go a long way towards you trying to claw your way back up to Ryan Otis there in the championship battle. Great run tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Sage Karam picks up the win. That's career win number 12 and 25 starts for the Pennsylvania native. And Brian, you've got, well, I'm going to guess, is a pretty happy second place finisher.
Tommy, long time no talk, buddy. Talk us through our second place finish tonight.
It was eventful, man. These things are so air dependent. I don't have a whole lot of laps in this car on ovals and really, honestly, road courses too with this new tire model. But I was just going on what information Ricky and Dean could give me and just try to stay in clean air and stay out of trouble, man.
I mean, you kind of took the alternative strategy, which we're not surprised at, and you were kind of the first one to make your final stop. Was that kind of the plan, or did that strategy evolve to that point?
Like I was just saying, Ricky was like, man, you could probably top off here, and if it goes green, you're going to be good. And I was like, man, I think I'm the only one on pit road. And he said, well, if it goes green, you're probably going to win. And then we had a couple more cautions, but a ton of the leaders pitted again and got my track position back, and it's just so hard to pass, man. It's to pass the leader is almost impossible.
Yeah, I was going to say it seemed a lot easier to make the defensive runs and try to use that momentum to fight off runs versus attack. I mean, that kind of had to, from the driver's seat, that had to be a different experience for you.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Sage, he got around me. I couldn't understand how he was able to come right behind my wing there and still get some downforce on the nose. That was pretty impressive. And obviously we bumped tires coming out of two, and I kind of bobbled a little bit, and I'm not sure if he did either, but luckily we lived. I know he wasn't real happy about that, but it's definitely not intentional. But these guys, how it is, man. You don't get an inch over here, so you got to take an inch.
Absolutely. I mean, good second place effort tonight. Any final parting words before we send you on down the road?
Yeah, just let me thank my sponsors: Northern Tool and Equipment, Patriot Fire, Coastal Safety Otters, and obviously Butt Kicker. Man, they hooked me. I was one of the lucky winners off that, and that thing's a lot of fun. And HyperX and everybody that helps put these things on, man. It's an adventure, man. It's fun.
Absolutely. We'll see you on down the road here at the Michigan International Speed, or actually at Gateway, our next event.
All right, Brian. See you guys later.
All righty. That was Tommy and Jason. We've caught up with Bobby, and I think you know the right questions to ask, Jason. So take it away.
Yeah, Bobby, How did you survive that race? And where did you come from? There's a double-edged question for you.
Um, it was an interesting race. That started the race. My car would not turn to save its life. But like the age-old Lotus 79 question is when are the tires going to come in? And about halfway through the race, they came in a big way.
They came in a huge way, to say the least there. I know you had a little bit of contact there at the end of the race. You were around a couple of incidents. One was clear net code. The other one, our last yellow, looked like there was some contact made. Walk us through what you thought happened there.
That last one, I simply pushed. I never didn't run the bottom the entire race, and I didn't know what to expect, especially with the worn tires, hoping for some more grip. But I did push. There was a little bit of net code, but me personally, I would call that a push.
The high line, when did you figure out that was working so well for you? Because we went through the whole field at one point, and nobody could run up there in no man's land like you. And when they were spinning. But you had that thing hooked up, bud.
The big point when I knew the high line was going to work was when I was able to run fifth gear the entire lap, almost flat foot.
There it is. Very good. Well, Bobby, hey, it's great to have you back up here on the podium, man. It's been a long, long time since we've gotten to talk to you. And you made it awfully, awfully exciting for all of us tonight. Congratulations. Great run.
Well, hey, that's what I hope for. Good show for everyone. Good show for the sponsors. Good show for the fans. And I had fun. So
do we. Bobby Mikes comes home in third place, snagging the podium spot here in the Retro Series. And with that, we're going to turn things over for one more interview with the man who almost stole the show tonight, Yaz.
Mike, you got all of the retro fans talking with your strategy. At one point, did you realize they just weren't gonna make it?
I think if I didn't get any more cautions at the end, it was pretty much over. But it was just getting closer and closer and closer, and I really was saving fuel the whole second half of the race because I knew it was pretty unreasonable. So I'm pretty excited that I was able to make it to 3 to go because that was a lot of saving.
How? Jason and I both were watching, wondering. We knew that you could get to about 75 laps ish on a tank of fuel. So with 20 to go, when you ran your 75th lap, we had no idea what to expect.
Yeah, I was just backing it up in the corner, and I knew I could control Sage and Tommy just by being ahead of them on the track. So I thought if I could keep backing up to them, I could see how much fuel I can save. I was pretty sure it wasn't going to be enough, but I had to try. That's the only way I'm going to beat those guys, and like Dustin and Ryan, all those super fast guys. So I had to give it a shot.
I mean, hey, that's the best way to be, right? Take a shot and it might work out for you. Who knows? Maybe it'll work out for you in the next race at Gateway here in a little bit. Mike, you gave us all a run, gave us a thrill there at the end. Any final shout outs before we let you on go?
Just want to thank the Lionheart guys and Andrew Kinsella for making the setups. I really enjoy the setups that he makes. And yeah, just really fun to be here. And it was fun to make this race a little exciting.
Sound good, Mike. We'll catch you on down the road. Jason, what a race we've had tonight.
Man, what a race is not even the right words. The finish to that one was really, really fun and pretty spectacular. And it's a great time with you tonight, bud. We got a little time off here before the next one, so we'll have to enjoy it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Want to thank everybody who makes this event happen for us in these events each and every week. That includes the DMLC Racing Channel, the title sponsor of the Lionheart Retro Series. If you're looking for entertaining sim racing content, follow 2019 Retro Series Drive of the Year Mark Cohn, the DMLC Racing Channel on YouTube and Facebook. Of course, HyperX powers the Lionheart Racing Series. Whatever you play, however you play it, go to hyperx.com and use the promo code LionHRT15. HyperX knows we're all gamers. Sim Experience is second only to the real thing at simexperience.com. And Butt Kicker, feel what you've been missing, you can use the promo code LION2020 at thebuttkicker.com. Want to contact any of the sponsors that you see on the page right now, go to LionheartRacingSeries.com. Of course, at GSRC, we've got some great companies that help us out as well to produce these broadcasts here on GSRC and the iRacing Esports Network. If you like the music, contact June Lalonde. You see that contact info right there on the page. The Lionheart Retro Series returns for round 13, September 17th at Worldwide Technology Raceway, a.k.a. Gateway, a track that we all know and love here in the Lionheart Series, and boy, does that put on a fun race in the Retro Series. Of course, GSRC and IESN will be there to bring all the action. Plus, look at all these great events coming up on GSRC as well. Follow us at globalsimracingchannel.com. Make sure you go subscribe to GSRC here on YouTube as well. All right, on behalf of the crew tonight, I want to say a big thank you to everybody who tuned in. Brian, Sean, Dougie, myself. We enjoyed it. Sage Karam gets the win, and the thumbs up cans are down, 150. Till next time, remember, the only one who remembers when you come home in second is your wife and your dog. Good night.